Hey, what's going on? It's Matt from 96.5 The Fox, and it's time for another one of my world-famous rants. It is no secret that I'm a big Detroit sports fan, and all I've been talking about the last 24 hours is the Detroit Lions loss to the Dallas Cowboys in Big D, and more importantly, talking about that pass interference call, which was called and then picked up by Pete Morelli. I think everyone who is a sports fan who saw that play could probably argue that it was definitely pass interference. There's no reason why that flag should be picked up. And if you're going to call it, just stick with it. You should stick with it anyway. Instead, Pete Morelli allowed another judge to come in, say there was no pass interference. They picked up the flag, not the best explanation. Now, there's a lot more to that play that could have been called. He could have called defensive holding. He could have called a face mask on Brandon Pettigrew. And let's not forget the fact that Dez Bryant walked out onto the field to argue with the referee who called pass interference, which should have been a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. But outside of all of that, I think the thing that bugs me the most about the outcome of this game is that people immediately took to Facebook to say things like, Jerry Jones paid off the refs. The referees screwed the Lions. The referees were the reason the Lions didn't win. The reason the Lions didn't win is because they couldn't get a touchdown past the first quarter. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Outside of that, you had a couple of field goals. If you want to win a game, put the ball in the end zone. Then a called pass interference or a picked up pass interference doesn't matter. 3 holding penalties in the red zone against Detroit. Doesn't matter if you score a touchdown and put the game out of reach. Instead, you let Dallas get back into the game with a deep pass to end the first half, and then Dallas played much better in the second half. If you don't want that to happen, put the ball in the end zone. Much like an MMA fighter doesn't want to leave the fight up to the judges, he wants to end it in the ring. Football teams, baseball teams, basketball teams, you don't want to leave it up to the ref or umpire. You should be able to finish the game on your own. This should not affect the outcome of the game, and it didn't. The call on the field, the picked up flag, had nothing to do with the outcome of the game, and here's why. You have absolutely no idea what was going to happen if that call doesn't get picked up. If the penalty goes forward, Lions have first down. Everybody's saying, well, they would have scored. You have no idea whether or not they would have scored. I don't know if you remember this, but our kicking game wasn't the greatest at the beginning of the year. Yes, Matt Prater came through later on, did pretty well. Who's to say we don't get a field goal chance and he misses it? Not to mention, Matt Stafford, prone to throwing interceptions sometimes. You've got Joique Bell, Reggie Bush, who could potentially fumble it. Who knows? Stafford could blow out a knee. On the next play, we have to put it on the shoulders of Dan Orlovsky, who ran out of the back of the end zone just a few years ago. So, did the call affect the outcome of the game? No. Did it affect momentum? Sure, it may have, but it taken the wind out of the Detroit Lions' sails. But you cannot place the blame on the referees. If the Lions want to win that game, put it in the end zone.